Good morning, J24/7! It's our absolute pleasure to have you joining us today for this special presentation recorded live from our studios at Raffy Place, Sussex, England. You join us today for our awards ceremony highlighting some of the heroes of faith. We're so glad that you could join us, and we hope that you could stick around for all of the action. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please get on up out of your seats and be upstanding for Scotland's finest. It's Major Stretch and his faithful dog, Skipper.
Oh my! Oh, Smarties are a revelation. Oh, hello, DJ 24/7. I'm just here preparing for my exercises by eating Smarties. So I think it's time to hit the music and get going, don't you?
Okay.
Right then. Get those feet kicking. Oh yeah. That's very good, J24/7. Up off the floor. Up off the sofa. You can do it. I know you can. Let's lean to the right. Stretch to the right. Stretch to the right. Stretch to the left. Stretch to the left. You're doing a grand job. If you could kick your foot out in time with that drum, I'd be really proud of you. Hey. 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 Very good. Let's reach forward, shall we? And touch your wiggly fingers up there to the screen. And get your wiggly fingers up to the screen. I love what you're doing, J24/7. Give me one more wiggle with those fingers. And one last one so I think it's funny. There we go. I think it's time for a dance break, Skipper.
Okay.
Are you ready? Let's do some dancing.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. 1988 at its finest. Okay, now let's get ready for some more stretches. Get your feet apart, we're going to go down to the ground. Oh, down to the ground. Oh, and again. Oh, down to the ground. Oh, and now we're going to reach high to the sky. Oh, high to the sky. Oh. Now scan your environment safely. Is there something safe which you could pick up to join in with? I'm going to use this right here, and I'm going to do some weird exercises with this one. Do you know what? This is not such a grand idea. Oh, J24/7, this is a lot heavier than it looks. I think we'll leave that well alone. Oh, be gone. Right, are you ready? You fit and limber ready for the day, Skips?
Yep.
I think it's time for us to sing to Jesus. Are you ready to sing to Jesus at home? I think you are. So we're ready in 3, 2, 1. Let's go!
I was lost with a broken heart. You picked me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash I am born again, forever safe in the Savior's hands. You were more than my words could say. I follow you, Lord, for all my days. Fix my eyes, follow in your ways. Forever free in unending grace. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love never ending. Oh, oh, oh. to set me free. Everything of this world will fade. I'm pressing on till I see your face. I will live that your will be done. I won't stop till your kingdom come. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the J247 Heroes of Faith Award Show. This morning we will be giving out an award to the Best Supporting Actor to one of our Heroes of Faith. This lady suffered great heartbreak when her husband, father-in-law and brother-in-law all died. However, she continued to remain faithful and loyal to her family and travelled with her mother-in-law to Bethlehem. Later on, she found a new husband and she became the great-grandmother to King David. Let's take a look at the award for the category for the Best Supporting Actor. The award goes to Ruth.
Hey guys, it's great to see you for week 5 of our theme Heroes of Faith. This week our hero is Ruth, and she is particularly special because she has her own book in the Bible. So today's memory verse is from Ruth chapter 1 verse 16, and this is her speaking. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. So we're now going to find out why Ruth is our hero of faith this week.
Good morning, J247. How are you? Have you got your leaflets ready? Have you? Have you remembered that Beth has told us that Ruth is our hero for this week, and Ruth 1:16 is our memory verse for this week? That's what Rin told us, isn't it? So pop that in your booklets. You'll also spy that we've only got 1 week left. Next week is our last week on this theme. We get a brand new theme. Anyway, back to today. Do you remember that a couple of weeks ago, our hero was Deborah, and Deborah was a judge who was the leader of Israel at that time. At the time when Deborah was a judge, there'd been all sorts of judges, all sorts of leaders leading Israel as a nation. She was one of them. And that's the time in which this story takes place. It's thought of as a time which was sad for Israel because many of the judges presided over a very bad time in Israel's history. Let's jump into this story, and sadly, we start with a bad time in Israel's history. There's not enough food to go around. You might have heard of this expression that there was a famine. Famine means there's not enough food for everybody to eat. Ruth 1 says, "In the days when the judges ruled in Israel, a severe famine came upon the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah left his home and went to live in the country of Moab, taking his wife and 2 sons with him. The man's name was Elimelech, and his wife was Naomi. Their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in the land of Judah. And when they reached Moab, they settled there. Then Elimelech died, and Naomi was left with her 2 sons. The 2 sons married Moabite women. One married a woman named Orpah, and the other married a woman named Ruth. But about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Chilion died. This left Naomi alone, without her 2 sons or her husband." So this family, Elimelech and Naomi, have left Bethlehem because of the famine and gone to this new place Moab, because that's where they can find food. Sadly, Elimelech dies, and their two sons both get married. They marry a lady called Orpah and a lady called Ruth, our hero for today. Then sadly, both the boys, Marlon and Kilion, both die. And so Naomi, the mother, is left with her two daughters-in-law. This is a story which starts with tragedy. It's very sad. Then Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. She's heard that where she used to live, back at home, the food has returned. There's no famine anymore. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law got ready to leave Moab to return to her homeland. With her two daughters-in-law, she set out from the place where she had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah. But on the way, Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, "Go back to your mother's homes, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and to me. May the Lord bless you with security of another marriage." Then she kissed them goodbye, and they broke down and wept. It's a really sad moment, and probably one of the lowest points of this story. And Orpah does decide to leave and to go back to her family and to her gods of her family. But Ruth makes a different decision. Ruth says in verse 16, "Don't ask me to leave you and to turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us." When Naomi saw that Ruth was so determined to go with her, she did nothing more. So the two of them continued on their journey. When they came to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited by their arrival. "Is this really Naomi?" they asked. "Don't call me Naomi. Instead, call me Mara," which means bitterness. "For the Almighty has made life very bitter for me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back home empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer, and the Almighty has sent such tragedy upon me?" So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth, the young Moabite woman. They arrived in Bethlehem in late spring at the beginning of the barley harvest. This story is marked by three things. You'll see them in a moment. One is tragedy. We have seen this story, the start of it is so sad. Then we're going to see provision, and we're going to see joy. Remember? Tragedy, provision, joy. Now, as I'm counting this out, I'm looking at my fingers going, look at your fingers at home. Can you see on your fingers, your fingertips, you've got things called fingerprints. Your fingerprints are not like anyone else's fingerprints. If you pick something up or touch something, your fingerprints will be on that thing, and people will be able to come along, if maybe the police, dust this down and go, Dave touched this because my fingerprints are on it. You may not see me here with it. You may not hear me here with it, but you can see, because I've touched it, my fingerprints are on this thing. In the story of Ruth, we don't see God. We don't hear God, but we can see God's fingerprints all over the story. We've seen so far just the tragedy, but the provision and the joy had to be God. Watch this. As it's just said that the barley harvest has started, Ruth goes out to provide for her mother-in-law, Naomi, by picking up some of the scraps that the barley farmers have dropped as they're harvesting their fields. Now, there's a local man who's actually related to Naomi called Boaz. And he's a very wealthy man, and he owns this area of land where the barley is being harvested. And he notices that Ruth is picking up these scraps from the field. And he tells his workers, be kind, drop extra scraps, drop extra things so she can have enough food to eat. Ultimately, he takes her on, he looks after her, and at the end of the story, Boaz marries Ruth. There is provision for Ruth and Naomi in food, the barley scraps that are dropped, which gets increased because Boaz says to his workers to drop more things. So there's provision. There's provision in Boaz as a husband, which in those days would have meant security of an income and provision for food and for money for her. And then lastly, we see with this wedding here, look. So Boaz took Ruth into his home and she became his wife. When he slept with her, the Lord enabled her to become pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women of the town said to Naomi, "Praise the Lord, who has now provided a redeemer for your family. May this child be famous in Israel. May he restore your youth and care for you in your old age, for he is the son of your daughter-in-law, who loves you and has been better to you than 7 sons." It is worth pointing out that these ladies are bang on it. Ruth has been more faithful to Naomi than so many family examples we see around the world even today. Ruth is an absolute star. Remember, she's not blood related to Naomi. She's married into that family, and yet she is so faithful in sticking with them. And she has this son. And the son gets called Obed. Verse 17 says, the neighbouring women said, "Now Naomi has a son again," talking about her grandson. They named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse and the grandfather of David. Do you remember back right to the start of this series? Week 1, our hero was King David. King David's dad was Jesse. Jesse's dad was Obed. So, tragedy, provision, joy. Ruth has an extreme sense of tragedy. Her husband dies. Her husband's brother dies. Her husband's father is dead. They're living in a land that isn't their own because they've been sent there because of a famine. And Ruth looks at this family and she loves them. She says, "I'm going to go where you go, and your God's going to be my God. Your people are going to be my people." She travels with them. And the reward she gets from this is she gets given the food, she gets a new husband provided for her, and the husband provides for her a son. And that son is he's the grandfather of King David. She becomes the great-grandmother of King David. And do you know who's in King David's family line? Jesus. She gets her place in the family history of Jesus himself. We don't hear from God, and we don't necessarily see God as a character in this story anywhere. But his fingerprints are all over it. Even when it looks like everything was sad and everything was wrong and everything was tragedy, God's fingerprints are all over this. The provision and the joy come from him, ultimately. Now, today, in your groups, I would love for you to look at a psalm about our God being faithful and his love which endures forever for us. It's Psalm 118. Why don't you read through it and pray through it as a group, as a family, wherever you are. And I'll see you back here in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that your reading and your prayer time went well. Do you remember from Ruth's story how we don't see God as a key character? He doesn't say anything, and it's not like anyone comes into the room saying, "I've heard God say this," and then we do this. It's not like Deborah's in there being a prophet, hearing from God and telling other people. We don't get that at all in this book. In fact, in many ways, God is silent in this book. But his fingerprints are on the whole story. The tragedy is rescued with the provision and the joy. And maybe sometimes in our lives, we think that our lives are just ordinary. We're just going through lives and God's nowhere to be seen. But rest assured, the fingerprints of God, the fingerprints of the Almighty are on you and on your life. And actually the ordinary and the mundane things that you do, like Ruth did, finding some food, finding a husband and having a child, which didn't seem incredible at the time, became remarkable because of who that child became. The grandfather of King David and the family line of Jesus himself. God has his fingerprints on your life. Let's remember our memory verse for today. It's from Ruth 1:16, and it's, wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Ruth 1:16. Have a brilliant morning. I hope that you enjoy the craft with Beryl, and I'll see you next week. All the best. Bye.
Hello children, it's me, Beryl, the crayon, and I'm here to tell you about the craft that's available today from kf.church/online. We hope that you have great fun doing it, and if you'd like to, please could you send us a photo to see so we can see how you get on. We love seeing your pictures, we really do. So, send your pictures to children@kingdomfaith.com by Tuesday, and I'll get Dave to put them in the video for next week. Have a wonderful time with the craft. Ta-ra! Whee!
Hi J247, I'm Isabel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed learning about Ruth. What an amazing woman with lots of determination. Let's be like Ruth this week and decide to stay close to God. I wish you a great week and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye, God bless you.